Hey all, thank you for joining for Thursday's devotion. It's going to kind of feel pretty similar to Tuesday's faith talk on the election and politics, and I want to talk more about it because when Morgan and I wrapped up that video and then reflecting on it later, I was like, what? I think there was more things I wanted to talk about, and I was a little disappointed. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, we make 2 of these a week, there's plenty of time, we can revisit it. So I want to read a passage from Samuel. It's about the calling of King David, right? So if you put yourself in Israel times, there was prophet Samuel. He worked directly with God, and it was still like this religious but king nation. And so they had a king, Saul, and he was kind of laying an egg, for lack of a better. He was no good. And so God gets a hold of Samuel and says, hey, go elect a new king. So Samuel goes to a guy who has 8 kids, and God's like, hey, you're picking one of these guys. And so that's where we're going to pick up. So if you want to follow along, it's 1 Samuel chapter 16, and I'm going to start at the kind of halfway through verse 5. And he being Samuel, and he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they came, he looked at Eliab and thought, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look on his appearance or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Then Jesse made Shammah pass by, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. And Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, and Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord has not chosen these. Then Samuel said to Jesse, are all of your sons here? And he said, there remains yet the youngest, but behold, he is keeping the sheep. And Samuel said to Jesse, send and get him, for we will not sit down till he comes here. And then the story goes on, and you probably know the end, hey, the one who's rejected is the one that God actually picks, and that's who becomes king of Israel. And so there's 2, what does this have to do with our election that's going on that's dividing us all and bothering us and everything is, again, I want to caution what I see when I open up the internet is that whichever side you fall on, your guy is like God's anointed in your mind, for lack of a better, he's the one who's going to solve all of our problems, or he's the one who's going to solve all of our problems. And so there's this caution, right, that, well, hold on, we're not looking the way man looks. We're looking the way God looks, right? And so that's a really important reminder of where to put your trust. You're allowed to like your candidate, but remember who they are. They are a man. And then the other thing I want to take away from this is if you look at these surmounting problems of America, and you're a teenager or an adult or whoever is watching this, and it just seems so uncomfortable, like how can I even make a dent? Right? David was so insignificant in his family's eyes, he wasn't even invited to the table when they were coming up with who should be king, right? They left him. They were like, okay, here comes this guy to pick a king out of one of our sons. Don't even bother bringing David because he's no good. And he's the one who goes on and becomes the king and has all this impact and is a major character in the Bible, right? So the other side of this, I want you to, take an encouragement that don't count yourself out. You can influence your own pocket around you. And again, like we talked in the Faith Talk, there's so much divide right now. You yourself, if you can bridge one gap in your personal life, that's huge. That's King David. That's the work of God. So again, I wanted to really revisit and drive home this challenge and drive home this idea like, man, this stuff is in our face every time you open your phone or get on your computer and everything. And just remember, like, hey, we're supposed to be looking the way that God looks, not the way that man looks. And then also the other side is, no matter who you are, God can use you, is going to, wants to, is desiring to. So get out there and be used to better the kingdom. So that's our thoughts for Thursday. And thanks for watching. Don't forget, we have tailgate trivia on Saturday. Can't wait to see you.